You wish to enter the tourney?
I don't have much, just sword and shield. I mean to serve the realm with all my might.
What should I do?
I don't know. I'm really quite drunk.
Lord Ashford Fox's sheep!
Poor Lord Ashford just can't catch a break, as we also see a little bit in this episode as well. Poor guy just can't catch a break. But welcome one, welcome all to the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, episode 4 live watch party and after show discussion. And I'm looking forward to this one. I still haven't seen the episode. I started watching it last night. I got like 10 minutes into it and then something happened. I had to stop watching and I haven't been able to get back to it since. So I still haven't seen the full episode. So you'll be getting my live reaction to it, at least after the first 10 minutes. I saw around the first 7 or 8 minutes around there. But I'm looking forward to this one. Everyone has been raving about it in Discord. People seem to really enjoy it. And knowing where the story is, this is a good episode that could produce some really good moments.
Yeah, well, it had a strong finish. I have seen it. It made for a late night, but it was all right. And, you know, if you watch it once, you know you're going to watch it again. So I watched it a few times over the course of last night and today. But yeah, it was, it definitely moved things along. And they have a pretty good hand as far as where to break for the episodes. They've been pretty solid with the cliffhangers and all that kind of stuff. Not really a cliffhanger here, but a very logical break point in this episode. So they let it run and it stopped exactly where it needed to. And then we're well primed for episode 5 for sure. So yeah, man, I think it'll be satisfying. If anybody hasn't seen it yet, it'll be worth it, to follow along and, to watch it as we go. But yeah, definitely, another good, this whole show has been pretty good, very satisfying. So how can I complain?
Yeah, I can. I mean, I can't complain much. I must say, Night of the Seven Kingdoms has been great. It really has. It's been great so far. Very much been a breath of fresh air, considering that, good TV shows, like really good TV like this, isn't super, super common anymore. It doesn't come around as often as it used to. But yeah, it's been very, very wholesome. It's always fun to have a nice underdog tale like this. Who doesn't love a good underdog story? Set in Westeros of all places, which is a world that we all know and love. We're all very familiar with. And that was one thing that's really great about this. You definitely feel like you're in Westeros. You feel like you're getting a different look at Westeros, but it very much feels like that Westeros that we know and love. So yeah, the season's been great so far. So I can't wait to see what episode 4 brings us. Again, I haven't seen the whole episode yet, so I'll be watching it live here for the first time, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be worthy.
It should be good. It should be good. Again, it seems like a lot of people have been raving about it. So I've been trying to avoid spoilers, but I know the books. I know the story like the back of my hand. So I have an idea as to what will probably happen in the episode, but it's one thing to know the story and then to see how it gets adapted, and it's been so interesting to see this story come to life in live action like this so far. Like it's surpassed my expectations at every turn almost. So yeah, we shall see. But let's see who we got in this awesome chat tonight, shall we? And then we will get this party started. We got Andromas in the house. Here we go. The blood of the dragon, the hammer and the anvil. Yes. Got Haymaker in the house. Are there no true knights among you? Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to be either in this episode or episode 5. I had a feeling we were getting close to that scene, just based on where we are in the story. Looking forward to seeing the full scene. I mean, I know we saw that scene in the trailer 100 times, but I'm looking forward to seeing the full extended version of that scene, like the whole thing from start to finish. That I'm very much looking forward to seeing. We got Doc Hayes in the house. What is up, Doc Hayes? Good to see you as well. Welcome one, welcome all. Welcome one, welcome all. I see Admiral Wackass down there as well. What is up, Admiral Wackass? I see West of Westeros. I see Kiwi Skirt. Welcome one. Welcome all. I see Minerva's in the house as well. Welcome, Minerva. We got the Fromaholic Fretcha. I just needed more than 35 minutes. I mean, me too. Like, I mean, the show really is that good that when you get to the end of the 30 whatever minutes, yeah, it's like, damn, you want more because it really is good. I mean, it's as a fan, I'm always going to want more. And maybe that's a good thing. And if they are planning on doing, 10 to 12 seasons of this thing, if Ira Parker gets his way, maybe it's a little better in the long run that we're getting these nice little bite-sized seasons. That way we can get one every single year. But I get it. I mean, I would love for the episodes to be, closer to regular Game of Thrones length. And it was funny. Ira Parker actually recently came out and spoke about that. When he was first approached to do the show, in his mind, he initially thought that he would adapt this similar to the rest of the Game of Thrones shows, where he would get 10 seasons, 10 episodes, 1 hour each. That's what he originally was planning for when he first was approached for this. And then they told him what HBO was planning and how they wanted to do this kind of format. But originally, Ira Parker wanted to get 10 episodes of 1 hour each for Duncan Egg. I mean, I think there's definitely a way you could have done that where it wouldn't have felt too stretched out. But then again, you never know. I mean, it is a short story. So maybe this form is the most idealistic version of it on screen. Who knows? I guess we'll never know. But what about you? Would you rather have seen The Hedge Knight adapted over 10 episodes, or do you like this format?
Oh man, actually, at the rate that they're going, I think I'm kind of satisfied with this because
I am too. Yeah.
To fill it out into 10 1 hours, they would have had to have added a whole lot more, and their instincts with adding things have generally been pretty good, but. I'm not ready to hand over the reins to somebody else completely. I mean, House of the Dragon. I mean, when George himself is saying it's not my story anymore, and that's how I felt too. It's like, it's Reddit fan fiction. Right? Yeah, it's multi-million-dollar Reddit fan fiction, and it ain't for me. It's like, okay, very, very cute, very whatever. Put whatever you want in there. Put your personal. Have it be self-inserts or their own whatever attitudes and whatever. Make sure it fits 2024 2025 attitudes of Hollywood in your medieval time period show. I'm just not interested in it. I can pass. I'll pass on that all day. But this one, and again, I think we've said it every show. This could have been 1 3-hour movie. It could have been 2 1.5-hour shows.
Definitely.
We play the cards we're dealt, and this is pretty satisfying in the format and form that it is. Not a whole lot of fluff, not a whole lot of extras. They've adapted. The adaptation is mainly in a lot of ways bringing things that Dunk is thinking internally and then putting it into dialogue into another character, or even him talking to his horrors. But it's never the same way all the time. So it keeps it kind of fresh and it keeps it kind of novel. So it does seem to fit, and I've been pretty satisfied with that. So I think they're doing all right. So I mean, of course, at the beginning of the season, I was saying more and more and more, always more. And I totally get.
You always want more as a fan initially, that's natural, especially nowadays when you don't get a whole lot of really, really great shows like this these days. You get a little bit of a good thing and you want more of it. That's natural, I think. But like taking a step back and analyzing it with a more critical eye, this format has worked beautifully for it in this 35 minute episode range.
Yeah. So I'll play the hand I'm dealt, and I'm satisfied with it. So
me too. I am very satisfied, super satisfied. It seems like everybody's really loving the show from top to bottom. Even people who usually criticize everything are really loving this show. Like, it seems like all across the board, everybody's really enjoying The Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and that's something you don't you very rarely see that. We kind of saw that a little bit towards the beginning of House of the Dragon. Like House of the Dragon season 1 was good. Like the first season was pretty damn good, in large part thanks to Patty Considine mostly. And Matt Smith. Yeah, Matt Smith had a much better role in season 1 than he did in season 2. That was the only other time that I kind of felt a little bit of this kind of similar energy we're feeling now, where almost everybody across the board really liked it. But A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, it's even a little bit bigger. Not bigger, but it feels like across the board, it's more universal. Even more people like it. Some people didn't even like House of the Dragon season 1. Most of the people did, but some people didn't. But it seems like everybody, just about anyway, is liking United of the Seven Kingdoms, and that's very rare, very rare these days.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you a more. I think it soaks you into the world of Westeros a little better. We're getting a ground level view, less lofty lordly intrigues and stuff like that. We're seeing it from the ground level, so it's a lot more relatable. And his challenges are not vying for power in a grand scheme that stretches across the continent. He's like trying to worry about his next meal. So
exactly, and it brings it down to earth. It grounds it a little bit more in some realism, makes it more relatable. It makes it that that everyday working man just trying to get by, even though it is in this fantastical world of Westeros. Not a whole lot of magical elements or anything to the show like that. A little bit with that we'll see, I imagine, in this episode with one of the Targaryens. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how they adapt that. We got a little teaser of it in the first episode when we saw Darren passed out in the inn. But other than that, these are very low magic kind of adaptations. There isn't dragons running around. There isn't others and White Walkers running around. It's super grounded and just good, wholesome storytelling. But yeah, you always want a little bit more as a fan, but I'm really enjoying the format that it's in, and maybe this is the format it was meant to be in. We got Lawrence in the house. What is up, Lawrence? Good to see you as well. We got my other awesome co-host, PM Philosophy, in the chat. Congratulations on 33K, beloved. Thank you so much for that. Yes, that is right. Today, we officially hit 33,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is an awesome milestone. As some of you know, the number 33 to me is very near and dear to my heart. It has a lot of different meanings to me. It's why it's in my YouTube name, Jeremy Eisenfire 33. Most notably, a homage to the greatest athlete of all time, Mr. Larry Bird, Larry Legend. But yes, today we hit 33,000 subscribers, and I cannot thank each and every one of you. Never in a million years thought I would ever have a channel with that many subs. So I'm super grateful for the communities that we've cultivated here, whether it's this, From, Shogun, Severance, all the stuff we talk about here. Super grateful. 33,000. Wow.
Yeah, the From people got a bunch of red meat in the past week.
Oh, yes, we did, didn't we? We did, didn't we? And what did you think about the teaser?
Honestly, I think I put it even in.
It wasn't a whole lot. It wasn't
yeah.
Season 3's teaser was a little bit more intriguing because we saw Boyd, that was just that 30-second snippet of Boyd, tied to the post. It was high intensity. We hear the screaming in the background. So the Season 3 teaser was a lot better. I will say that. This one didn't show us a whole lot, but we got a little bit.
No, I mean, I expected a roll call, and it was like a lot of smash cuts to say, okay, this guy's in it, and this guy's in it, and this guy's in it. Man in Yellow had like a menacing line in there, and it's like, really fed the theorists and stuff. But yeah, I mean, and we know that Julie still has her ugly scream face. But other than that, yeah, I mean, there's a lot to guess, and now we have to figure out how much of it was out of sequence, how much of it I didn't really pour over it, with the fine-tooth comb, so I don't know how many instances they had for like the tricky editing with the sound where the audio doesn't really match.
I think most of it's from the first episode, to be honest. I won't be surprised if most of it's from that first episode. It's a very rough cut. You can tell it's definitely not the finished version either. It's very, it doesn't have that polished MGM plus look. So you can tell it's like very much a first draft just so they can kind of get something out there. the show, the finished version will look much more MGM polished. But yeah, well,
but they needed to do something. I mean, they were. Yeah. I mean, the clock was ticking. It's like, okay, and now are we certain that April 19th is? Is that a done deal?
April 19th, 100%.
Okay.
Season 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Mark your calendars, folks. From season 4 is coming. It is coming. But yes, a big thank you to each and every one of you. 33,000 subs. That's super, super incredible. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We got Rockers in the house. What is up, Rockers? Good to see you as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got Mega Monster in the house. What is up, Mega Monster? Good to see you as well. Welcome, everybody.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody. Yeah, this or a 3-hour-long movie. Honestly, yeah, I mean, if you did like a 3-hour-long movie of this, I'm sure that probably could have worked too. I like this format. I think this format works great. But yeah, I think there's even people out there that are waiting for all of the episodes to come out so they can kind of just binge them one after the other. So you get like that 3-hour movie experience. And I imagine that's going to be very enjoyable as well. Like, this is a show that, probably is a little bit, better for a binge model than some of the other shows that we talk about and cover. So, yeah, I think it would work as a 3-hour movie. We got Hades Gates. What is up, Hades Gates? I wish George R. R. Martin would write more about Raymond Fossway. I mean, Raymond Fossway is an interesting character. I've liked the actor so far. The actor that they cast to play Raymond Fossway, he has been pretty good, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing his scenes in episode 4. We saw in the trailer that we're going to see the whole knighting scene in this episode, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing that, like how they adapt it, how does it play out. But yeah, I like the actor that they cast to play Raymond Fossway. He's been a perfect addition.
Yeah, definitely. He captures. He's like the closest we get to like a comic relief
about the Targaryens in episode 3. Fucking gold.
Yep. And who hasn't? Who hasn't got a couple drinks in him and then just said, like I said, and one more thing, you just keep throwing one more, and not just that, man. Let me tell you how I really feel. It's like, oh, easy boy, easy buddy, simmer down now.
Yeah. More Raymond Fossway. Give us some more Raymond Fossway.
And who knows? I mean, George is like, wasn't it Sansa that, like, when people started liking her in the show, he decided not to kill her or something? There were people that became popular in the series that he was like, he was second guessing killing them off. I don't remember which.
I know Maisie Williams, Arya, was his wife's favorite character. Okay. It was her favorite. I think it was her favorite character in the book too, if I remember. But something like that, yeah. Characters like that are probably always going to be safe. No.
Yeah, he couldn't kill her without getting in trouble.
No, not without the old lady. Raymond turns green apple and has internal battle with the Fossways. Yeah, I mean, the whole taking the green apple sigil, how he does in the book, that is super cool. Like, that is I really hope we get to see that on screen, like him coming out with the green apple specifically instead of the red apple of the Fossway tree. I really hope we see that. But yeah, here we go, folks. I mean, here it is, episode 4. I know most of you have probably seen it already. Again, I saw around the first 7 or 8 minutes or so, and then I had to stop watching because not only it was super, super late, but I had something come up, and I just haven't been able to get back to it since. So I'll be watching it for the first time, so I cannot wait to see the rest of the episode. But yeah, let's dive into it, people. Let's dive into it, shall we? I will pull it up. And I'll be able to play a little bit of it, like here and there, little snippets here and there in the background, not with, without sound, of course. I can't play the actual episode on screen, unfortunately. But just to keep a little bit of a visual guide as to where we are, I will play this every once in a while and try to line it up with our other screen that we're all going to be watching. But yeah, get your screens ready, folks. If you are going to be watching along with us, get your Night of the Seven Kingdoms episode 4 loaded up, and we will all hit play here in a minute, and we will get this party started. I'm looking forward to this. I've been wanting to see this one. Been hearing good things. Been hearing very good things about this episode. Been hearing very good things. Ravener, take the wheel for just 1 minute.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Yeah, there's a few scenes in here where it doesn't exactly match the book. There's a few things that they've added to, and actually, I think we mentioned it quickly in the chat. One scene where the character actually did have dialogue that probably would have been better than the scene they replaced it with. Um, but all in all, I think again there were many scenes that were like true exactly to the letter of how the book read. Very interesting, and probably one scene that I'll point out in the after show, where they actually had the exact correct line and they didn't use it, and just in my opinion, of course. But all in all, I think it was pretty well handled, and of course, everybody who's already seen it, the finisher, the closing, got the old heart beating, and it felt like we were finally home. So it's like, there we go, thank you, finally we got the fan service that we were looking for. Let's see.
Yeah, a lot of darkness in the beginning. I was actually talking to Ravener and the guys in the Discord about that last night because I did see the first few minutes of the episode. I just haven't seen the rest of it. And that opening shot was so beautiful and perfectly well done. Really great. Not only like a beautiful looking transition shot, but very symbolic as well as it opens up and it looks like we're looking at a view of the stars. Which Dunk is used to sleeping under. Dunk sleeps under the stars every night. That is what he's kind of known for. He's made his pavilion under an elm tree. He's out there sleeping beneath the stars every night. The shooting star is right there on his shield and sigil. So it's very interesting to see the episode opening up with him kind of looking up at the ceiling and seeing this kind of mimic, this representation of what looks to the stars, and how it slowly kind of transitions into the ceiling of his cell. Very symbolic of Dunk, unfortunately, not being able to sleep under the stars tonight because now he is a captor. So that was a brilliant, subtle way to kind of open up the episode where not only does it look really good, just transition shot wise, but the symbolic meaning behind it in terms of Dunk, having the stars taken away from him for a night.
Yeah, and that was super cool. And I mean, and that does kind of show how, like, if you squint your eyes a little bit and don't let all the light in, yeah, like the little flakes of mica in the stones of the ceiling can look like a constellation, and for all intents and purposes, I thought that's what he was looking at first, and then
Me too.
it was such a smooth and cool transition, and
Yeah.
the scene subsequent to that was exactly out of the book, was picture perfect. The dialogue was perfect and all of it, and Egg, he played it well again. But anyway, I want to get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, everybody get yours loaded up. We're all going to hit play here in a minute. And instead of doing this one in the Discord, we're going to do just like we usually do some of our From Watch parties where, yeah, we all just hit play on our own devices. And I'll try to keep this synced up every once in a while when I can for a visual guide. I can't let it play continuously, but I can, kind of keep it going along so we have a little visual aid as to where we are in the watch party. But yeah, everyone get ready to hit play on your devices and we will kick this party off. Yeah, the opening transition was great. It really was. Beautiful shot. Not just aesthetically pleasing, but symbolically pleasing as well, for sure. For sure. All right, let's get ready to do this. All right. And without further ado, we will all hit play here in a minute, and we will watch episode 4, and then we will discuss it amongst ourselves. Here we go, everybody. Season 1, episode 4, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, titled 7. And play. And I am letting the previously on play. I don't skip it.
Cool, cool.
Come out, little knight. It's time you face the dragon.
And I was queued up to the constellations, so I'll be following along.
Yep.
I think that's one thing that they used in this show a lot more is the fogginess and the misty, hazy, that way they don't have to show
Westerosi dew. Yeah.
It might be, that might be like a budgetary thing because you don't have to show. They did that in the original Rome too. I mean, they had like smoke and fog, and that way you only had to show the first 10 guys in a line of soldiers that should have been, 500. But the fog and smog and smoke and
okay, my previously on just stopped playing. The episode just started for me, just for everybody who wanted to kind of maybe just keep in line with us. My previously on just ended and the actual episode just started now.
Cool.
And yeah, we get that opening transition scene again. Super, super clever opening transition scene like that, where you think you're looking at this, this ceiling of, you think you're looking at the stars, like Dunk's, the view that Dunk has every night before he goes to sleep, only for it to slowly transition into the ceiling of his cell, kind of symbolically taking the stars away from Dunk. No more sleeping under the stars for Dunk. This guy's little friend, the rat. And I don't know if it's just me, but something about Egg and full-on Targaryen garb, it just doesn't look right. It just doesn't look right. I'm so used to seeing him in his Squire attire, #Squire attire. I don't know. It just looks off seeing him in Targaryen colors. Try your eyes. Good old Baelor. Baelor breaks spear. He's been good as Baelor so far. I'm looking forward to seeing, the rest of his scenes. Baylor's great, right? Yeah, Baylor's the shit. Baylor's shit. Baylor's my second favorite. Sir Lionel's my favorite. I love the Laughing Storm, but Baylor's my second favorite.
Mm. Yep. He's right back to page status.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. Egg just Egg just seems so weird in full Targaryen garb, speaking like that. He just seems so different, from the Egg we know. Might be able to keep it playing. If I do that, might keep it small. Maybe I can keep it playing that way. Maybe it won't pick up. Yeah, it's a little risky. Oh yeah, no, yeah. Everyone is playing it on their own devices. This is just a visual guide to let people know where we are in the episode. But yeah, everybody's playing it on their own devices, and we're all just watching it together. So yes, if you have it on your own device, hit play and watch it there. Yeah. These two have really good scenes together in terms of like their chemistry on screen. Baylor and Dunk. The casting's been great. This was the most Game of Thrones episode so far. It is very Game of Thrones, Ty. It does feel very Game of Thrones so far. How good a night are you, truly? And the title card pops up. Love that. Oof. Okay. Baylor advised him to request his own trial by combat. Interesting. Ain't no way Arion facing Dunk alone. He's way too scared for that shit. Make our nose. Make our nose. He's afraid.
Yeah. Yep.
You cowering behind some ancient fucking form of trial by combat. Poor Lord Ashford. Dude. Reduced to fetching nuts for Aeron Targaryen. And I love how Aeron says that. If a good cause is just, then good men will fight for it. Yeah. And eat those words, my friend.
Maekar.
Maekar grabs him up.
Yeah.
And poor Lord Ashford's still down there fucking fiddling around for the damn fucking nut.
That's why I think Maekar isn't such a villain. He's prickly. He's prickly and kind of
He's
a dick,
not a
but
villain.
he's a hard ass.
I hate to say it, he's not like Tywin-esque, but he's kind of like slightly Tywin-esque in the sternness in terms of, the honor and how his family is perceived,
Yeah.
Like he feels honor bound to enter this, at least I imagine that's probably going to happen on the show as well. I get a little Tywin vibe from him every once in a while. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Not super villainy, but willing to do what he has to keep his family's name in good standing.
Yeah. If you have a short temper and your kids are pulling a bunch of bullshit.
Raymond. You talking to your horses? That's fucking mad. Sir Stefan. Sir Stefan. I wonder how they're gonna play this. Where are the dragons, Sir Duncan? I'll say this: Sir Stefan Fossaway talks a good game, if nothing else. You shan't die under my watch, sir. Wow. This fucking guy. So he's got one on his side. 5 more to go. Won't they kill me if I run? Won't they kill you anyway? Oh shit. Oh shit, this is yes! Daron, right? Yep, gotta be Daron. Dunk's like, you fucker. You fucker. Fucking Daron. Yeah. Daron. Daron. Hey, Ron. Oh, that fucking skit. Daron. Strike me a nice blow to the side of the helm. Make it ring. And he'll fall. Yeah, very, very. I mean, the adaptation's been very faithful. Kingsguard joining the 7. What do you have, Seth? Raymond's cousin. And Arian, you'd see him dead. Oh my god. Oof, wow. I was wondering if that was gonna be in here. And he threw my cat in the well. Duncan Daron. Hmm. The dream. The dream. Oof. And a fire and a dead dragon. Oof. Did I kill it? Damn. Damn. That was good. That was good. You know, you always wonder how they're going to adapt these scenes after reading them for so long, after seeing the graphic novel for so long. You always wonder how they're going to look in live action. But man, they've been killing it. Ah, of course, Dunk's thinking about Florian the Fool. You know, the irony of the whole story is what's crazy. You know, it's Dunk acting and behaving like a true knight is what got him in this mess. Was that Steely Pate? Okay.
I like that line. Well gone is well forgot.
That's a good one. They made for Dawn. They did a good job with the Shield in terms of the live action version of it. See how green the leaves are? There's so many leaves. What's that? Lest I die and go doomed to hell. Yes. Oak and iron guard me well. A copper. That's what's up. Great casting for Steely Pay too. Again, the entire cast has been just phenomenal for their roles. That's a great shot right there of Dunk standing there with the shield on his back before he walks through. Robin Risling. Sir Lionel. Who the fuck is Sestevron? I wasn't about to miss a chance to bloody up the Kingsguard in their pretty white gowns. Fucking Sir Lionel, bro. He's the fucking best. He's the fucking best. He is the fucking best. Their pretty white gowns. Hell yeah. My car's got some fucking sick armor too. My car's got some badass armor. Yeah, Lionel's Lionel's down. Lionel's down to ride. Oh damn. Yeah, Stefan is an asshole. But damn, that's some good fucking looking armor. I did see a picture of that earlier, and it fucking looks great. Even better in live action. That's some fucking badass armor.
Yep.
That's some badass armor for Sir Stefan, even though he's a traitorous pig.
Yeah, in the book, all he had was like a cloak clasp made out of garnets and stuff. I think nothing.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
Elaborate as that. And the apple on his shield, of course.
Yeah, no, this looks great. The armor in Knight of the Seven Kingdoms as a whole has been better than Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon for the most part. Yeah, knight me. Yeah, Sir Raymond. Yeah. I love the actor who's playing Raymond. Raymond Fossway. I mean, they, again, fucking great casting.
And Lord Ashford has the horn of Helm Hammerhand over there. Like, what the hell?
Fucking Sir Lionel's a fucking badass, bro. Fucking badass. Hell yes. I charge you to be brave. Damn. Hell yeah. Almost, and Dunk looks up and sees Sir Arlen, almost like it's him taking his knight's vows as well. And Sir Arlen just shrugs his shoulders. Damn, that was good. That was good. That was a good scene. Hell yeah. Hell yes. I've been looking forward to this. Hell yeah, Dunk. Hell yeah, Dunk. Hell yeah. Oh shit. You got someone to stand. Oh fuck. No. Talk about killing the moment.
I know.
Oh man. Fuck. Oh man.
The worst scene of the show.
You know,
Yeah.
you think Dunk's inspiring the crowd, and boom, you get a fucking fart. Sometimes, you know, there's a right and wrong time for comedy, you know? But
It's Hollywood writing, man.
I will not believe it is so. There are no two nights among you. Hell yeah. Yes! Tell me it isn't.
Bust out that cello.
Tell me it isn't. I'm boy Baylor. I'm boy Baylor Breakspear. Hell yes. Hell yes. Hell yes. Hell fucking yes. They earned the Game of Thrones theme with that fucking shit. They earned it. And, you know, it's almost like they didn't play at the beginning of the season because they didn't feel like they didn't earn the moment. They earned the moment to use the Game of Thrones theme.
Finally, yeah, finally.
Yes. Hell yes. Hell fucking yes. Fucking Baylor! Yeah! Oh my god! Hell yes. That is how you fucking end an episode. Shit. Damn. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and I agree with Ty.
Wow.
Same thing too. I mean, you just get those chills, you know, when the theme
that
matched.
was
It
great.
was the perfect moment for it. So
That was great.
Yep.
That was great. That was fucking great. I was wondering how this scene would play out, you know, with Baylor. You know, how is Baylor going to make his appearance? You know, how is everyone going to find out that Baylor is helping Dunk? And they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. You see him right. I mean, I wish they could have made a little bit of an emphasis on him, you know, having to like rework Valar's armor a little bit, you know, because he didn't like fit him a little bit. Like that would have been a little bit nice because that does play a part later on as to, you know, with Baylor's armor maybe being a little bit too tight for him. That's actually a very important detail as to what, you know, for what happens later. So they probably should have thrown that in there, but fucking phenomenal, absolutely great episode.
Yeah, and I thought about that too, about the armor not fitting and stuff. But it would have been some explanation that wasn't really didn't need to be in that scene because it was you know, the music was swelling, we were in the moment, and they had 15 seconds to tie up the episode, you know, and they did it boom perfectly. You know, yeah, with the Game of Thrones theme.
They earned
rising.
Yeah, they fucking
what a
earned
relief! What a relief!
Hell
I was
yeah.
so, and the thing is, they, you know, this was like redemption because Otho had a line when Dunk was addressing the gallery. Otho had a line, and he said something along this, you know, he said something along the lines, almost like Dondarrion had said, like Manfred Dondarrion had said, he's like, you know, it's what's it to me, kind of, essentially. He said, you know, you're, you know, it's a, you know, you're whatever, it's a noble whatever, but what's it to me? And he sits back down. This one they had to add the fart, and I'm going to start docking points on episodes where they do that.
Usually, I've been totally okay with some of the kind of weird comedic moments that they kind of throw in there every once in a while. But every once in a while, you should take your show a little more seriously in that one moment. So I do agree with you. This was the one time where I feel the fart definitely kind of took away from the scene. Definitely took away from the gravity of the scene. They set that up incredibly well. Going all the way back to the first episode, you start to hear the Game of Thrones theme start, and then it just cuts off, and you see Dunk fucking going to the bathroom, and now here we are, 3-4 episodes later, they've earned it. They've earned the right to use that Game of Thrones scene, that theme in a scene like this, and then they did really cheapen it with the fart, in my opinion. I feel like, again, there's a right and wrong time for this kind of comedy, and I feel like, even though this show is supposed to have a very heavy undertone of, comedy, every once in a while, in your more important moments, you need to take your show a little more seriously. So they shouldn't have done the fart there.
And I've railed against this in the past about how they won't let anything. They're so afraid of being made fun of by their peers that they won't have anything genuine or earnest or honest. They have to put some little quirky, ironic, takeaway because they don't want to be seen, as overly earnest or, by their fellow screenwriters or whatever. But believe me, and I've dialed it back. I mean, after watching it and then letting it stew all day, I've rolled it back because I was like, man, whoever wrote that.
That's my only really, just off the top of my head, that's my only really, again, I have to kind of dive into it and dissect it a little bit more, but just fresh off just seeing it for the first time, because this was the first time I've seen it.
They need their hands cut. Whoever wrote that needs their hands cut off. Then I was like, no, what they need is they need a head injury where they never have another thought again, because that thought was so fucking stupid. They should never have another one.
And Mega Monster brings up a perfect point. The Sir Arlen shrug was fine comedic moment, but that should have been the max. And I 100% agree with you. That was enough. That was a perfect amount of a little bit of comedic levity. It fits with Sir Arlen's character, how he wasn't very much of a traditional knight. We saw the flashbacks of Dunk asking, if he's ever going to become a knight, and Arlen just spits in the other direction. So Arlen kind of just shrugging his shoulders in that moment, as Dunk is kind of also symbolically taking his knight's vows at the same time as Raymond. That was all the comedic relief you needed. That one little shrug. You didn't need to go any further than that. Adding the fart, it just, all it did was take away from the scene. 100% agree with you, Mega Monster. The shrug was all you needed.
The only other one I didn't like, the only other scene I didn't like was when Raymond busted out laughing at Egg's story about unless he was just like, see, I told you that these Targaryens are monsters or whatever. But I didn't feel like he was drunk off his ass where he would laugh at like some child's trauma, like a story like that. But that one didn't fit. And the one that I wanted at the very beginning, when they're in the cell. Now this is in the book, where Egg is like, I didn't care if Darren fought or not. I wanted to be somebody's squire. I'm sorry, I truly am. And the paragraph is this. Dunk looked at him thoughtfully. He knew what it was like to want something so badly that you would tell a monstrous lie just to get near it. I thought you were like me, he said. Might be you are, only not the way I thought. And that, that was the line that pretty much sealed the fact that, Dunk knows that he wasn't dubbed a knight. He didn't officially become a knight. That kind of sets that to rest, what little conjecture there was. But he did, he's like, he wanted it so bad that he would tell a lie to get it. And then that comes, but I think they couldn't actually either say that or portray it in that cell, because that was an internal thought of Dunk. But then that leads directly to him not being able to, it's not being able to dub Raymond a night later.
Yeah.
because he's like,
Exactly.
man, I can't stack, I can't stack sacrilege on top of sacrilege, doing it for himself is one
Yeah.
thing, and he
Any
more or
knight
less
can
got
make
away
a
with
knight.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you see Dunk very hesitant there because, like you said, he knows deep down he's not really a knight. So Sir Lionel bailed his ass out right in the
Yeah.
fucking last moment. Sir Lionel saved his ass. But
Yeah.
it was a nice symbolic kind of representation of Dunk also taking his vows at the same time. And again, I don't mind the shrug. The shrug was really funny from Sir Arlen. Like that was very fitting.
Yeah. Mhm.
But yeah, then you have this really, really high intense moment. This moment where everyone that's watching is dead fucking silent. Our eyes are glued to the screen at this point because what we're seeing is so compelling. Because it was so good. That scene was so fucking good. And then just to kind of cut in with that far, it really took away from the scene. It was, you did not need that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every once
And it-
every once in a while, you need to take your show a little more seriously than that. Even though this is a show that is supposed to have a lot of comedy, every once in a while it should have some serious moments as well that are just serious.
Yeah, and that's what got me was, I mean, he had that line. He had Otho had line, the line for that scene.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been as jarring or whatever as and it would have been more dialogue. I did like how Dunk has always been a little tongue tied or a little throughout the book, throughout the story, he's always had a little trouble finding the right words for the moment.
Yeah, Dunk the love
and
is a
then-
castle wall.
Yeah, but in this instance, he really did get a rousing speech. He found it.
Yeah. He did. And when it mattered most, he found the words. And that's something that we find about Dunk a lot throughout his journeys, that he's kind of like super nervous when he's kind of just like in casual mode, but like when he's tested, like when push comes to shove, he tends to perform at his best at anything, no matter what he's doing. Like he's very good under pressure, just naturally. And that serves him very well, as a knight going forward. But yeah, no, it was just such a good scene. The dialogue was great. A lot of it was pulled right from the book, including the famous "Are there no true knights among you?" right from the book.
Yeah.
And it was just so well done. It's one thing to read these words and see the kind of depiction in the graphic novel over the years, but to see it in live action, you always wonder how's it going to look. And they killed it. They absolutely killed it. They brought so much, and this is where I credit Ira Parker and his team the most. What they're doing is bringing far more depth and emotion to George's story. Like, the Hedge Knight's a fun story, but it doesn't have a whole lot of emotional depth. And the show is really adding some kind of mature emotional depth at some really pivotal moments. Like even from the very beginning of the season, when Dunk is selling the horse, like you feel the weight of that moment. You feel the gravity of that moment of what he's giving up. You don't feel that in the book. It definitely does not come across like that. It doesn't have that emotional resonance to it. But the show is really giving it these really heavy emotional moments that fit very well. I think it's been great. They're only enhancing the story, if anything.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's a testament to the actor for Dunk too, because I mean, you can hear about how depressed he was about having to sell Sweetfoot, and don't worry, I'll come back and buy you back after I win, that kind of stuff. And that to hear about somebody being like down in the dumps and low is one thing, but to see it, man, to see that hangdog look, and when he doesn't have any other choice. I mean, it's like he's finding himself in a lot of situations. Not necessarily of his own doing, just kind of like swept along. And again, that's kind of relatable too, because anybody, you never know what you're going to get every day when you wake up. Some people have a good life, and some people have just like one of those lives. So like, what the fuck's next? I thought everything that could happen. So what's next now?
What else can go wrong?
Yeah, and this is a guy that he's not really getting hit. What would you'd think is his fair share of good fortune to come his way, right?
No, he's not. He's not. This is actually the first episode, out of all, and this is the first part in the story too, that Dunk finally starts to have a little bit of good luck come his way. Just for the very fact that he's even able to find 6 other knights that are willing to stand beside him, and in large part thanks to Egg. But still, I mean, it's interesting that he's had shit luck the whole time, but it's right when he really needed it, it turned around a little bit.
Yeah.
Haymaker 710 says, will the next episode be 30 minutes of fighting? Maybe. I mean, probably not 30 full minutes of fighting. I doubt that. But I wouldn't be surprised if the actual Trial of the Seven itself is a good 15 minutes of screen time, maybe 20 or around there. I wouldn't be surprised if it's close to like half of the episode, maybe. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see. I mean, when you look at like how quick it takes place in the novel, it's not like a super long and drawn out event. It doesn't take like super long. So that'll be interesting to see how they adapt that on screen. How much actual screen time can they get out of this 7-on-7?
Right. And we already know like the flashbacks. That I thought that we'd have the flashbacks in this episode, but we haven't really.
Next week, I imagine.
Yeah. It may be, I don't know if at some point Dunk gets his bell rung where he's seeing little Tweety birds and flashes back,
Wouldn't that be interesting if episode 5, starts off with the beginning of the combat? Because we do get that one shot, and you just made me think of this. We do get that one shot in the trailer of Arion riding by Dunk. Arion's on horseback and Dunk's on foot. And Arion smacks him super hard when he's riding by him with his Morning Star. And you hear the ting and Dunk just kind of falls back. Wouldn't that be interesting if that's kind of like the beginning of the battle? Dunk gets hit, and that brings us into the flashbacks that take up a good portion of the episode before we even get back to the battle.
Yeah, I mean, because now, it's funny because it was like, how are they going to fit what's in the book into X number of episodes? Now it's almost like they're so far ahead in the book that they've got to fill some time. And
maybe that's why they came up with this flashback.
Yeah. And it's good work for Sir Arlen, because he's popping up in every episode. He was trained by Arlen, so no one knows what to expect from him. Yeah,
that's a good point.
That's always been, Dunk knows that in the straight up joust, he may not be the most skilled of all of them, but so he continuously, not only in this one, and this isn't really a spoiler, but I mean, because he talks about it, he knows he's big and he knows that he's quick. He may not be, Dunk the Long, thick as a castle wall, and slow as an RX, but it's slow mentally. Not he knows. I mean, even somebody who's so down on himself as Dunk, he knows what his assets are, and it's his size and it's his quickness, and he's not ashamed to leverage that, in a fight. So if he could turn something into a brawl, he will. He may not need to have like the skill at arms of all these like highly accomplished war veterans and tourney veterans, veterans of multiple tourneys. That's one thing that I didn't really get. We did get that tiny microscopic scene of him training with a warhammer against Sir Arlen, but that was more of an Arlen scene than a Dunk scene. But if he's traveled around and he's served as a squire, he will have been in the thick of all the situations that Sir Arlen was in, whether it was a battle, whether it was a tourney, whether it was this, whether it was that. So he would have
say that,
we're
they've
getting
fought in various skirmishes and tourneys that they've served under over the years.
And squires weren't immune. I mean, it wasn't like people would just say, "Oh no, that's a squire. I won't. I'll leave him." If you're in a war, I mean, look what happened to
your fair game.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what happened to Roger, Arlen's previous squire, his nephew. Died on the battlefield. Arlen made it out, but the squire didn't. So, Dunk may have a little more knowledge.
Jaime Lannister became a knight. He was a squire for Barristan the Bold, and he got challenged when he was 16, and that's how he earned his knighthood.
So I mean, I guess we aren't told everything about what he's done, so he may have a little more. He may be able to hold his own. Now, will he be able to hold his own with a Kingsguard or somebody who's the best? Those are the elite.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, and that's the thing. You get to the point where, and they even mentioned, I don't want to spoil anything, but at some point, Dunk kind of realizes that he needs to kind of stick to what he knows, and that's brawling. Because that's what he knows. He grew up brawling. So we're going to see him, while he is a knight, yes, he doesn't fight like the rest of them. He's very much a brawler as opposed to fighting like a proper knight does. But West of Westeros brings up a good point as well, because we didn't really see any of this touched on in this episode, but I'm hoping that we do in next episode. I really hope we do. But yes, I'm guessing that they will touch on the Fossaway Green Apple versus Red Apple in season 2, or they will fast forward to Dunk and Egg traveling through Westeros, then becoming hope they don't touch on. Hope they do touch on it. Yeah, I'm really hoping that we see. I don't know if they're gonna have time at this point to kind of throw in him kind of showing up with the green apple all of a sudden. I don't know if they'll have time to do that now. It seems like the trial is already about to begin. He just got turned into a knight. I mean, he does still need to get armored, but is he going to be able to find someone to slap a brand new green apple on his armor for the freaking match? It's a little unlikely.
Yeah.
So
the paint would be running. It would be so
I don't know.
wet.
Maybe we won't get that scene.
Yeah, I think and I don't know how much time elapsed from the time that I keep losing the name. The green apple gets knighted. But this one they're already in the paddocks. They're already in the two sides where they square off. I don't know, and that would be something. If I had fanfic, if I could write fanfic, or if I could get a fanfic, tailored for me, I would like to hear more about the Fossaways and the split. I'd also like to hear more about the puppeteer. And I don't know why my brain is shut off where I can't remember names now all of a sudden. But Tenzel, I'd like to hear more about that. And I would write a fanfic. But no, season 2 is going to be its own self-contained thing. It'll be 18 months after the events of this story, and they'll have already traveled all around. They'll have traveled down to Dorne and back. There's the spring sickness that takes away some major people. But they were down in Dorne when the plague ravaged, the kingdoms. So a lot of stuff happened. But I don't think they'll have a whole lot of time in season 2 to linger on previously on type storytelling, because they've got to get in with that story as well.
No, there won't be any. I highly doubt there'll be any Fossaway Green Apple versus Red Apple stuff in season 2. If we don't get it here, we probably just won't get it.
And I'm going to say it, and this is not a spoiler, but they're going to have to do a lot more script doctoring on the second novella than they have on this one.
Oh my God, that's the thing. The first novella and the third novella are very interesting. Like those are gonna, they're both gonna be very interesting seasons. But the second novella, it's I don't want to say it's not super exciting, but it's definitely my least favorite out of the 3.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see, like you said, what they're going to be able to add. What are they going to inject into the Sworn Sword to kind of make it a little more interesting, maybe? Because this one does, while it doesn't appeal to the masses like Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon does, it does appeal to a pretty wide audience, even people who don't watch, even people who haven't read the book. But the second season, I feel, is going to be even more niche in the way that it's in the way the story's told. It's like that's like for like real Song of Ice and Fire fans that really kind of like that kind of stuff. But will that appeal to a general audience? I don't know, without them throwing some stuff in there.
Yeah, and Mega Monster has a good point as well about cutting out the small folk scene. And it was a small scene, and again, it's one of those that where would you fit it in? I mean, you could fit it in, but he was kind of wandering around in the dark. It seemed like he wandered around in the dark all night until right before. And I was wondering, they're starting this fight like barely after sunrise, and everybody's already and they didn't even know there was going to be a fight. It's not like you're starting the list at 6 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
But everybody else is all dressed up and sitting in the stands waiting for this thing to happen. So it's like you had to roust everybody out of bed. He was a Bracken channel handle. The farter wasn't a visiting. He was a Bracken. Yeah, the Beast of Bracken. And that's such a shame. And that was right. It was directly before the "Are There No True Knights Among You" scene. It was, they asked him, join us, I beg you, in the name of the old gods and the new. My cause is just, because they knew that Otho was a great champion. And he says, that may be, but it is your cause, not mine. I know you it's not, boy.
It's not mine. Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I guess it was a little redundant to what Dondarrion had said, as well. And pretty much all of them, all of the like Longthorn and everybody, when he was appealing for somebody to vouch for him, it's like, I know you not, boy.
Yeah.
But I mean, almost anything, even silence would have been better than that fart, I think. A substitute.
Yeah, the fart just took away. It took away a little too much, unfortunately, from what was a really good moment in the episode. For sure.
But what Mega Monster was talking about was, like, as Dunk was approaching the field, like one of the, like a merchant or something, a small folk merchant was like, God save you, boy, and Septon like kissed him or something, and he was kind of puzzled as to why it was happening. And they're like, you're the one of the.
Why are they rooting for me? Yeah, why are they rooting for me? Because they're glad someone remembered what remembered their knight's vows. They're glad someone remembered what a true knight really is, and that's who Dunk is. He is that kind of champion of the small folk, and that is a really good moment. They definitely should have been in there.
Yeah, they could have fit that in there and not lost anything, not lost anything, even from the narrative flow, because it was such a small and inconsequential scene that they could have added. I mean, if they're going to add the scene where he's walking through, where he's buying eggs or whatever, they could have added that one too, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I know it's Monday morning quarterbacking, and it didn't lose a lot. I mean, if people didn't even know that it existed, they won't miss it, because it's not like there's a gaping hole. But it did kind of speak to how Dunk is relating to the small folk, or how the small folk are responding, at least in the small amount of time that he's been lingering about this makeshift camp where that sprung up in response to the tourney. He has made a little bit of an impact.
Yeah, and this is how it's depicted in the graphic novel version with art by Mike S. Miller. Small folk were drifting towards the field as well, and hundreds of them already stood along the fence. So many come to see me die. Good fortune to you. May the gods give you strength. The warrior bless you, sword and the hand it wields it. They are for me? Why? What am I to them? A knight who remembers his vows. And I feel like with the actor they got to play Steely Pate, he's got such a good voice. He's got that really deep, good voice. Him delivering that line would have fucking been epic. I am so disappointed that wasn't in the episode, because I can picture that actor playing Steely Pate saying that line now. A knight who remembered his vows. Like that, I can just picture that really nice moment between Dunk and Steely Pate and the common folk. So yeah, not having this scene in there definitely is a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah. They also trimmed another line, but the thing is, the well gone is well forgot line. They had a second part, which was something like, if the dragon sees her, he might be reminded of her and try to get revenge on her too. So
you see any dragons up there, so don't get
yeah. But so they actually did good by cutting a little bit of dialogue, and it was pretty solid. Yeah, Steely Pate, another underestimated character, like a fill-in character for sure,
but underused character if nothing else, especially with the actor they got to play him. He's got a really good presence on screen, and again, his voice, he's got such a fucking good voice.
And he fit the role too, because they said he was about as wide as he was tall, and he had that. The actor has the look of the bald with the big bushy beard. He has the look of like somebody you would see as a blacksmith.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I liked it. I didn't catch it the first time in the episode when in the second scene where Egg is in the foreground, and like after the dubbing of young Fossaway, there's Steely Pate is actually there on the field, like
Yep.
with Egg. I was like,
It
oh,
would have
that's
been the
kind of
perfect time to deliver that line. You know, Dunk could have had a little quick scene where he walks along the fence where the crowd is, because that's where it kind of takes place. You could have that one little scene where he walks along the fence, and that they have that quick little interaction, and Steely Pate could have delivered that line right there. He was perfectly placed to do it. Fuck, man.
Yeah.
But that's nitpicking at the end of the day on my part. Like, yes, I would have loved to see that scene in there. I think it would have added even more, emotional resonance and shown, us as the audience that, this is who Dunk is. He's a man of the people, as Haymaker says in the chat. Dunk's a man of the people. He is. He fights for the little guy. He fights for the people who can't defend themselves. He is the true embodiment of what a real knight is supposed to be. And I feel like having that scene in there, having the common folk recognize him for that, would have been very rewarding for Dunk. Because, at the moment he's in a ton of trouble. He feels like, he maybe he's having second guesses. Did I make the right choice? But having the small folk behind you, seeing the crowd kind of get behind you and think, wow, someone actually remembered their knight's vows. That would have been, it would have been a good growth moment for Dunk, I think. So yeah, it's a little shame that it's not in there, unfortunately. But
yeah, Channel was asking who's the guy on Team Dunk we'd never seen. I think that's the Beesbury, who's also the brother-in-law of Humphrey, the Humphrey Beesbury and Humphrey Harding. But that's why they jousted each other. But then they're brother-in-laws.
Dunk on Dunk's side, we have Raymond Fossaway, Humphrey Harding, Lionel Baratheon, Baylor Breakspear, Dunk, Humphrey Beesbury, and Robin Risling. That's Dunk's side. I mean, it's going to be epic. I think it's going to be a very epic trial of the seven. It's been set up beautifully. The adaptation has been so fucking great up until this point. Again, even with the small little nitpicks of certain scenes that I would have liked to see in this episode, like the green apple and the red apple scene, or the scene that we just talked about. Still fucking great episode. Like, I thought this was a great episode. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. Westero says the writers of the season reminds me of that kid in school that thought making fart noises with their armpit in class for laughs. I was like, what I was thinking of? It reminded me of, it's like they went to Seth Rogen puts prosthetic dicks in The Boys, and everything he does is it's like they had a good show and then they sent it to Seth Rogen to punch it up
to make it over the top, unnecessary.
Former comedic actor Seth Rogen. Former.
He hasn't been funny in
20 years.
I'm Seth Rogen hasn't had a good movie in forever. But yeah, I mean, again, there's a time and place for good comedy, for comedic levity in a show like this. And even though it's supposed to have a good heavy undertone of comedy, you have to let serious moments stand alone on their own every once in a while. Like, every once in a while, you have to give the narrative its due, give that climactic moment its due, and don't cheapen it. And the fart just cheapened it, man. It cheapened the fuck out of it. And it's unfortunate because it was such a greatly built up scene. It was, very reminiscent to, like whether it's Viserys at the end of season 1 of House of the Dragon, when he kind of bursts into the throne room all triumphant to save Rhaenyra. You get these heroic moments that should be elevated on the show and not kind of undercut with, stupid fart jokes.
Right.
I get it. Duncan Egg is supposed to be, have a heavy comedic undertone, but not every single scene needs to have comedic levity. And as Mega Master said in the chat earlier, the little shrug we got by Sir Arlen 2 seconds before that was more than enough comedic levity that we needed for that scene. We didn't need any more than that. So yeah, that makes me a little bit worried that is this going to be a pattern, I guess? Are we continuing to go, are we going to continue to see stuff like this happen where anytime the show starts to get a little bit serious, something undercuts it like that? Are we going to continue to see that theme play out? I certainly hope not.
Right. And that, I mean, and like throughout cinema, you know, and you know, of course this isn't cinematic or whatever, but when you look back at like the Braveheart speech and the like Gladiator speech, you know, you know, there's a lot of classic speeches, classic moments, and that's why they're remembered as classics. That's why you know, the most overused word lately has been iconic, where every piece of shit somebody, you know, squeezes out, they call it iconic. But to be iconic, you have to be representative of a genre. You have to be like, when, you know, like on everybody's top 5 list of moments and stuff like that. And they could have let that moment breathe. They could have let that moment stand on its own, and it would have been perfectly fine. Now the fart dialed it back, and yes, but the thing is that he was already getting rejected. He was already getting you know, not a comeuppance. He was getting his rejection. He was being brought low by people ignoring his you know, passionate plea to honor. You know, that was sufficient. They didn't need to turn it into a, you know, a clown thing. But I mean, I again, it seems like the where they fail is the things that are the ones that we're most focusing on, and that's a shame, because you know, this is again, it's a very excellent show. I mean, this was a very excellent episode.
They're killing it. Absolutely.
Not a lot of stuff happened, and this was one of those where you move the chess pieces into place for what's going to happen next, pretty much. Yes, I mean, there was zero action essentially. It was, and like somebody said at the very beginning, this was the most Game of Thronesy, because it was maneuvering and, you know, technicalities and legalities and
political maneuvering, the you know, Dunk trying to kind of, you know, up against the clock, trying to get allies. It kind of did remind me a little bit of Ned Stark right after Robert died, trying to get up allies to kind of deny the throne to Joffrey type thing. It had similar vibe.
Yeah, and that was Buster is laughing about Arion getting it, like when Makar's walking out, he grabs Arion. So you may as well have that, you know, that hook that the Sandman from the Apollo, they got with the hook, you just grab him, pull him off stage.
Fucking hilarious. I gotta say, Makar's been another one who I've been super impressed with. The performance, just absolutely. Sam Spalding, I think his name is Sam Spurrell, I believe, killing it, absolutely killing it as Maekar. I love that, you know, the look on his face when he looks over at Arion. He's like, "What the fuck's a trial of 7?" He doesn't even know what the fucking trial of the 7 even is. And I love how right away he cuts right through the bullshit. That's one thing I like about Maekar. You know, I know he gets painted as a villain a lot, you know, considering, you know, the whole story as a scope. Once the story's over, you'll see, you know, from his demeanor and, you know, just how he is, some of the stuff that he goes on to do. But I don't necessarily see him as like full-on villainous. I just don't see him in that light. I feel like he's got a lot more nuance to him, where he's very stern, yes, and he values the honor that he puts on his family, and we see that in this episode, how he feels compelled to enter this, you know, 7-on-7 to redeem him and his other son's honor. But I don't think Maekar is an evil guy at heart. I think he's a very stern guy, and I think he spent his whole life, the 4th, 5th son, you know, growing up in House. Yes, he grew up a Targaryen, but he's like he was the youngest. He's the last born. He's like the 4th or 5th son in the line, the one that was always overlooked, the one that nobody ever thought, you know, the one that would never be king in all of this. You can understand why he has that little bit of maybe bitterness to him, but he's not an outright villain, I feel. But this was really fun just to see his reaction to this. Like, he just cut right through the fucking bullshit, and he knew right away. He's like, "Are you invoking this archaic form of trial by combat because you're afraid to face this hedge knight?" Like, he knew right away.
Yeah, and I'm glad he did. I'm glad he put it into words and you know, spoke it into the world, because I mean, people were, you know, I think we all needed to hear that. Yeah, and he does. I mean, just like with the cloak scene that you liked so much on the previous episode.
Yeah.
He just has that frustration, and just from knowing the Westeros, the Game of Thrones world, if you're the fourth son, you are reminded of that on a damn near daily basis. If you are not the you're not the heir, you're not the favored one. And it doesn't have to be in your face all the time, but the minute you forget it, somebody's going to be there to remind you of it, or a situation's going to rise to remind you of it. So yeah, I always picked up Maekar as a kind of a hard ass, and and he may be of a grumpy temperament. He may not, he may just be a grumpy dude with a very small tolerance for BS, but that's what makes him a good, not a complete villain, because he's calling out the BS on his own family. I mean, he's calling
out his own son's bullshit. Exactly.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, just knock it off. And we were talking earlier in the chat about how they established that Aerion is all sugar and spice and very nice while Daddy's watching, but when he's away, he's completely different, and he's that sadistic kind of psychotic asshole character. And the thing is, even if Aerion's doing that stuff, it's going to get back to Maekar. Even if Maekar doesn't witness this, he's people talk and people are going to hear and say, I'm sorry to say this, my lord, but Aerion killed my cow for no reason. I've come for, can I get 5 stags in recompense or something? And he has to deal with that kind of stuff. Plus his other son, Darren is already he's a drunk, and
disappointment to him. Yeah, exactly.
And we saw that in Lord Ashford's chamber when Dunk first appeared in there. Maekar was kind of venting that his sons, even to himself, are disappointments, and he's gonna, if it kills him, I'm gonna get straight.
He must not think much of Aemon sending him off to become a maester.
Right. And that was, I didn't know that Aemon had already been sent off, because I was like, I didn't see why Egg didn't cling to Aemon, because at least they had a little more kindred spirit. Yeah. But Aemon was already gone.
Yeah, we get that one little throwaway line from Raymond Fossaway. The third one, they shipped off to be some kind of maester, and the youngest, and then he gets cut off as Egg runs in. But Maekar, absolutely phenomenal. But I agree with you, Kiwi. He's got a shit haircut. Maekar definitely has the worst fucking haircut out of all of the Targaryens. A horrible fucking wig.
The center part.
It is very, very shit. You are very much right about that. His is the worst. But he's fun. He's a very fun character, and it's interesting to see, what drives him, what motivates him, why he gets out of bed, why he decides to enter this trial of the 7, and his the reasoning that he does for it. But at the end of the day, he's a father trying to redeem his son's honor, even though he knows his sons are shitheads. But
Channel Handle says, what level of non-knight lord can make a knight? I think it's automatic. I think just regular knight is any knight
can make another knight.
Yeah,
any knight can make another knight. It's that whether you're a hedge knight, full-on knight, doesn't matter. Any knight can make another knight.
But I think you have to go. Yeah, you go up the thing before you become a landed lord. And I think if you're a landed lord, you almost get knighted by default, kind of.
People like Sir Lionel and stuff like that. Like these high lords, they always they get knighted just because of who they are. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But Mega Monster does bring up a good point. I feel like the witness requirement to be a knight is easily circumvented. Can't you just pay a beggar to say they've seen you get knighted? Again, we saw it wasn't like super easy for Dunk to become a knight when he wasn't, but it was kind of easy for Dunk to become a knight and enter this major fucking tournament where princes, for crying out loud, and with very little degree of difficulty. Yeah, he had a few small hurdles he had to overcome to kind of get someone to vouch for him and all that, but it was relatively easy for Dunk to fake his knighthood. So a lot of it went on honor back then. It was supposed to go on the honor system.
Well, Plummer also addressed that too. He's like, do you think,
Yeah.
when he was pulling Dunk's legs, like, do you think just random, small folk are just walking in here? Because there was that very pricey barrier to entry, to the point
Yes.
where, Dunk had to sell his horse just to get the armor. And he was lucky because he did have 3 horses, and that's good for him and good for the story, because otherwise he would have been, but there's a point at which he is riding Thunder all the time, right? As a charge, he's riding his charger all the time. So yeah, you don't always have it, but I mean, and that's very realistic to real life too, the barrier to entry. And I think we discussed that on a previous episode about that. The price, like some squires never became knights. Mainly there was a tax requirement that was higher on knights, and also the barrier to entry, just literally getting the equipment.
It's costly. It was very costly.
Yeah.
Sure.
And they briefly they've kind of, and I think what they kind of glossed over it with when Plummer was offering Dunk the point shaving, the gambling bargain in the previous episode. You get the opponent's armor. Typically they didn't make as big of a deal of armor being custom fitted to the person. So Ashford's son's Andro's armor wouldn't have done shit for Dunk. I mean, he would have had to, and that, you have to ransom it back to the person. That generally that was the way that it was done. You would ransom it back.
Yeah, you ransom it back to the knight you want it from.
Because it was very little use to anybody else. Yeah. And we kind of, and again, I see why they didn't like belabor the point, because it would have been more exposition here in this episode with Baelor using Valar's armor. It is lucky they were at least close, because they established that on page 1 almost of this story, where a lot of Sir Arlen stuff was useless to Dunk, because he couldn't even wear the belt.
Really only the sword. The sword was the only thing that fit him. It fits my grip as well as it ever did his. That's the only thing that fit. And the shield. I mean, he made use out of the shield, of course, as well. But everything else, way too small for Dunk. I mean, Sir Arlen was tiny compared to Dunk. And the Maester, looking right, and Maekar grabbing freaking Arion and get over here, fucking kid, like like an angry parent does with every teenage kid. Get the fuck over here! Grabs him by the shirt.
You've embarrassed me enough. Just don't say anything more and leave those freaking walnuts alone, you jerky.
Yeah, stop breaking those fucking walnuts and get over here, you asshole. Maekar, so disappointed in the son.
And he was a little Arion was a little more smug.
Yeah.
He was written a little differently than in the book. I don't want to go point by point, but he did seem a little more smug. And it was kind of funny that he knew this obscure 6,000-year-old tradition better than Maekar.
Yeah. I find that a little interesting too, that Arion knows about the Trial of the Seven, but Maekar doesn't. Like, why has Maekar never heard of this? Yes, it hasn't really happened. We hear Sir Lionel say there hasn't been a Trial of the Seven in 100 years. I'm not going to miss a chance to join this one.
Right.
But that's not too much. That's not too long away. Further away. I mean, further in the past. 100 years is not that long ago. You'd think he would have heard of a Trial of the Seven. But,
right, and it's not like Arion's some great scholar where his nose is in a book and he discovers some legal technicality and trials.
No, I believe it's in the novel as well, where Maekar also asks what the F is a Trial of Seven. I'm pretty sure it's in there as well.
I know Dunk does. Let me see.
I believe he does. I think it plays out pretty similarly. But yeah, you'd think he would have known what it is for sure. But yeah, Arion very much, and Maekar could see right away, right through him. knew right away that he was just afraid of Dunk, didn't want to fight Dunk one-on-one, even though Dunk tried to get the single combat, trial by combat, just him and Arion, which would have been interesting, but Arion is not about to risk that.
Right.
Not
And
about-
and Darren says, "Don't do me any favors. Don't do this on
Yeah.
on my account." And but I think
Yeah.
Arian knew that. I think at this point Arian was banking on Dunk not being able to get the 7. It wouldn't have come to the point
Yeah.
because he was not going to get it. But he says, "But it would be selfish of me to deny you the right to prove the truth of your words at the hazard of your body." He literally says, "At the hazard of your body." Arian saying this to Darren. It's like,
Yeah.
I must insist upon a trial of 7. And then they do go to the part where Dunk was asking, what is this trial? Dunk says, "What is this trial of 7?" Baylor fills him in. And then he goes, I must fight 7 men then?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, Makar is like, "Don't play the fool. It must be 7 against 7.
That's what it was. That's what the difference was that I was thinking. It's Makar that says that in the novel, but Arion the show. That's the difference. Yeah. Poor Dunk thought he was gonna have to fight 7 men on his own there for a second. And that's again another example of, and you hear him say, "Don't play the fool." He's not playing the fool. He kind of is a fool in a lot of ways. This is another example of that, young naivete of Dunk, where he doesn't really know how the world works. He didn't even know how many Aegons there were that have been king. Like, he had to ask Egg, how many Aegons have been king? Like, he's not super knowledgeable. He's very much not book smart. He hasn't been tutored and taught about the world and about the history of Westeros. So yeah, he's very much not playing the fool in that scene. He is the fool. He doesn't know what the hell a trial of 7 is.
Yeah, and but I do love even these scenes, even the the scene with Egg, apologizing and all this. If you haven't, like, the way if you were just watching the show for the show, it makes perfect sense. It's explaining the stuff that you need to know. The narrative flow is right on point. I enjoy doing this. I don't know how much the audience likes it, but when we're comparing exactly what happened in the book and word for word what they said versus what they're saying in the show, but it's not really taken away. I mean, I thought the book was great in the way it played out, and I think the show is great in the way it's playing out. So
Me
it's
too.
fun to compare and contrast, but it's purely for novelty purposes. It's definitely not a knock saying, "Oh my God, the book did it so much better." I mean, maybe in some places a little, it just different, not necessarily worse or better, just different.
Yeah.
It's like, but
it's been a phenomenal adaptation. Honestly, there's some scenes that the book does a little better. There's some scenes that the show has done a little bit better, in my opinion. Like, again, just for some of the examples that the show is adding, when the show adds a little bit more of that emotional resonance to some of these scenes that doesn't really exist in the book. Like, you don't feel the weight of things as much when you're reading this story as you do when you're seeing it on screen. And that's to be expected, just naturally, given the two different forms of storytelling. Visual live action is always going to make you feel a little bit something more than reading something. But even just the way the scenes are described in the books, like when Dunk is selling his horse or some of the stuff we saw in this episode, they're definitely doing a really good job of adding a little bit more serious emotional resonance to some of these scenes. And that's one thing I think the show is doing a little bit better than the books at times.
Yeah. Bringing things that are in Dunk's mind onto the screen in dialogue form also, because again, here's another, they did in the book, he's walking through and he hears Thunder's like whinny or whatever, and he's tied up right outside of the Fossways tent. In this case, he was out by his tree, and I'm not gonna be like, well, how did Raymond Fossaway know to find exactly at that time? But what that scene was for Dunk to be talking to be spilling his mind to his horse for our benefit, and that's what that was for. And I accept it, and I allow it, and I like it. So you can, it's perfectly good. And then Fossaway had the line, like, "You're talking to your horse. It's bad.
You're fucking mad. You're fucking mad. Yeah, fucking Raymond's been great. The actor they cast to play Raymond Fossaway is killing it. He's absolutely eating this role up. He's making the best of it. Every little bit of screen time he has is always memorable. Like I always walk away from the show for some reason remembering Raymond Fossaway scenes more than anything. I don't know why. He's just had an impact. But yeah, he's good. Good actor. He's good in the role. And
he has a look too.
I think this was a good one.
Yeah, the actor who plays Dunk has to walk around with a shaved head, but this guy has to walk around with a chin beard, a little spindly Fossaway chin beard.
Very heavy Yorkshire influenced Northern British accent that he that's super heavy. Feels like he's got marbles in his mouth sometimes.
Yeah, I think Kiwi said earlier on, he was like, Raymond Fossaway is a friend everybody wishes they had. And he was kind of a fast friend. He was really
very fast. Yeah, you see how him and Dunk embrace just after Dunk gets out of there and he goes back for his horses, and they instantly embrace. It's like, whoa, you two are just met and they're acting like they're best friends. But he is a good friend. He is a good friend to him, and we see that play out later on in the episode as well. But yes, PM Philosophy. Wade just got here. He was afraid of Dunk. It seems like that's what my car was implying when Dunk challenges Arion to a trial by combat. He's challenging him to a one-on-one fight. But then Arion suggests a trial of the 7, because deep down, Arion knows he doesn't want to fight Dunk one-on-one, but he thinks he's got a better chance if it's 7 against 7. So he's a little more protected that way. So yeah, Arion's a little afraid of Dunk in that moment, and Mykar instantly picked up on it. You could definitely tell that his father knew right away. Like he even asked him, like, "Are you afraid to fight this hedge knight?" And he is. He comes up with a very clever excuse. Arion does, in terms of, oh, my brother Daron was wrong too. Both of our honor needs to be redeemed. So I got to hand it to Arion. He comes up with a very clever excuse. But yeah, deep down, most of it is because he's afraid to fight Dunk one-on-one.
Mykar is not buying what he's selling.
Mykar's not buying what he's selling.
Like, take that shit and walk, man. You're not.
Yeah,
but and we didn't get specific, explicitly Baylor telling Dunk to invoke trial by combat, but it's pretty clear.
And you just reminded me too, one very important scene that I was really hoping we were going to see in the show, because it's actually, it's not like super vital, but they kind of make a point to put this in the story. How Baylor comes up to him and tells all of them to that Arion's team's going to be using war lances. And Baylor has the clever idea of using tourney lances, because tourney lances are a little bit longer than war lances, even though they're not as durable. They're a little bit longer and they'll be able to strike first. So that's a very interesting aspect when Dunk is having his first tilt towards Arion. So I was a little disappointed that wasn't in there, but maybe it'll be in episode 5.
Right, he might mention it. Because they're on the field, but they haven't quite lined up.
They were just showed up. So
yeah,
maybe it'll be in episode 5 where he tells them
huddle up before they break.
Yeah, a little huddle. Let's huddle up. We got to use tourney lances, guys. Right. Hey, I'm for it. I'm for it. Good stuff. Good stuff. But it was a good episode. This was a great episode. I very much enjoyed it from start to finish, pretty much from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what you guys are saying. Let us know what you thought in the chat. Did you like episode 4? Did you not like episode 4? What were some of your favorite scenes? What were some of your least favorite scenes? Let us know. Also, love that Aegon explained to Sir Duncan Tall about how Arion, in the short time past, would come into Aegon's room, putting a knife into his jewels. Yeah, that was kind of ripped, like almost like word for word, right from the book too. I believe, if memory serves, that was in the book as well. Where you get a little bit of a deeper look at how cruel and twisted Arion really was. That he would go into his young brother's room at night with a knife and do something like that to him, like super fucking dark. But yeah, they definitely, and I get it. They wanted to add some more context for us as the audience to show us just how kind of depraved Arion really is. They definitely really want to make sure they're painting him as a villain, and they are. It's working.
It wasn't just like a one-off or a one-time thing of him being. This is a consistent theme of him,
Exactly.
and then then throwing the cat into the well is just kind of like an aside.
Yeah.
It was just like, so
Wow.
yeah, they firmly established that, and I did like the Darren line that too bad that he didn't see himself as an apple, then it'd be a lot of less trouble for all of us, because Arian seeing himself as a dragon, it's like too bad he wasn't born a Fossaway. Then if he saw himself as an apple, it'd be a lot less trouble for all of us.
Yeah, it'd be a lot less trouble for everybody. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Kiwi's least favorite was the fart. So we are of one mind, indeed.
Fart was my least favorite too. Definitely my least favorite scene. Everything around the fart was probably my favorite part of the episode, but that one part was, they could have done without the fart. I get it. They want the show to have a good comedic aspect to it, but every once in a while, it's okay to let the show be serious.
And the favorite was the knighting. Yeah, and the
knighting was great.
Yeah, the father, the mother, the warrior. They cut the maid. They cut the part where the maid, with the maid you vow to protect all women, but with the mother you vow to protect the innocent and the young and innocent. So I guess it's kind of.
Yeah.
Somebody was saying they never actually go through all of the 7, like how you take your vows to all 7 of the gods. We never actually.
I don't really. I think you're right. Like, when just thinking about some of the instances where someone's getting knighted and it's described in the books, I don't believe they ever go all 7. I believe it's usually the 3: the mother, the father, and the warrior. I believe it's usually those 3.
Yeah. At one point in real life, and when you were knighted, they would actually like give you a backhand slap across the face.
Yeah.
And they'd say, that
would
be
with a glove, I believe, right?
Yeah, and they tell you that's the last time you take a blow unanswered. Because you're a knight. Yeah, that's the last time you have to take a blow unanswered, because now you're a knight. You can. I think evidently as a knight, if in matters of honor, at least you could look for satisfaction from anybody, pretty much.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely. And Dunk probably didn't even know the words either, too. Like, he's standing over there and he's like, knight him, Sir Duncan. Duncan's looking around like, fuck, what do I do, bro? I don't know the fucking words.
Yeah. And I liked it in the book, and I don't know if it conveyed so much here, but like Dunk would say, I shouldn't. Well, that was Dunk saying I shouldn't because I'm not a knight. But
that's
of course,
what I thought originally.
Raymond is thinking he doesn't think I'm worthy. I'm
yes.
And it's like, so it's a double misunderstanding, or it's a single misunderstanding, but like a double meaning. And it's like, oh shit. But thankfully, and that was great in the book when they did it, and it was great in the show when they did it. That was an element to that whole knighting scene, but they didn't milk it, and they didn't drag it out. They had God, my brain is turned off. The antler.
So
Lionel will come in and resolve it like almost instantly. So it wasn't a lingering. It wasn't a lingering dilemma.
They built up the tension here a lot more than they did in the book. You're absolutely right. It's one of those things where Sir Lionel just does it super fast. He's like, I'll knight Sir Fossaway. Dunk, you go do what you got to do. It's a lot quick, but you're right. Here, they draw it out a little bit. They amp up the tension. They inject some drama into it. And that's kind of how I took it originally, the same way you did, that Dunk maybe deep down feels like he's not worthy of creating another knight because he knows deep down he's not a knight. But I like the idea of him maybe just not knowing the words too. That's also funny.
Yeah, true. And very possible, and very possible as well.
Yeah. For sure. Love the fart, says Inside the Square Circle. Yeah. Hey, if you like the fart, nothing wrong with liking the fart. Nothing wrong. Favorite part for me was Baylor. Was anything Baylor was in. I mean, Baylor was great in this episode, wasn't he? I've been waiting for Baylor to have his episode to shine, and I'm so glad we finally got here. And he really did in this episode. We got to see, you know, the reason why he's such a beloved crown prince, why he's why everyone thought the throne was going to be so secure under his rule when he would eventually take over. But yeah, killed it. Baylor was great in this episode. Absolutely great. For sure. But yeah, the fart scene. The fart scene. I could have done without the fart scene. Could have done without the fart scene. Yeah, it never does all 7. It's a lot of words. It's a lot of words to sit there and do all 7. Yeah.
Right. Because
Even
it
the
had
show,
to do the Smith, the Stranger, and who's
but even the show itself did an abbreviated version of the Night's Watch vow. The Night's Watch vow is a little bit longer in the book. There's a little bit of stuff that they cut out of the Night's Watch vow on the show. They did a little, kind of abbreviated version.
Yeah, and I mean, and that stuff is cool. I guess, for people that like for us, like super fans and stuff. When you're into it, you want to hear it all and you want to see it all and soak it all in. But it is almost like when they're portraying it on screen, they have to make it interesting to everybody. Almost like when you're doing a wedding, you're like, you get the dearly beloved part, and then they smash cut to, now I take you man and wife. They don't have to show us the full up and down and all around, exchanging of the vows and stuff. They just want to get to the point.
Just get to the point. Yeah, let's get to the action. And yeah, Podrick and Raymond were both knighted, so that alone is 2 peas in a pod for character arcs. I mean, yeah, very similar trajectories, similar character arcs that they do have. Yeah, and hell, even the actors kind of look a little bit alike and whatnot. I think of it, Podrick and Raymond. Yeah, they even kind of look a little bit similar. But yeah, Raymond was good. Raymond was really good in this episode. You see him finally have a chance to stand up to his cousin after his cousin just completely trades all of his honor away for a lordship, which is a little interesting because we're always hearing Sir Stefan say his is the senior branch of the Fossaway tree, indicating that he was already going to be a lord one day anyway. So it's a little, but is what it is.
Yeah, and that was extra snaky too, because Arion literally did that merely to break the quorum, basically.
Mm-hmm. What's interesting, and I caught a little clip of this in the inside the episode thing. Apparently, the actor who plays Sir Stefan Fossaway was playing that scene as though he was the one who approached Arion, not the other way around.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting tidbit. I mean, this is just how the actor is playing it in his head. I don't know if he was directed to think of it that way, but the actor mentions that, here's my chance to go and join Arion and get something out of it. So he was kind of playing it like it was his idea to switch sides, not that Arion kind of bribed him, which is kind of always how I thought it was in the book. I always assumed Arion got to him,
Yeah, because he was the one giving Dunk the pep talk and like name dropping. I know Lionel Baratheon, I know the Lannisters, I know this guy, I know Sir Otho, and basically assuring Dunk that getting 7 wouldn't be a problem. And of course, Raymond's the one saying, he knows them. I don't know if they know him. And sure enough, we got that classic line by Lionel. Sir, who the fuck is Sir Stevron?
Who the fuck is Sir Stevron? It doesn't even say his name right. I fucking love it. Who the fuck is Sir Stevron? No, your Squire came and found me. Fucking great.
It seemed, you're right. I agree, though. In the book, it did seem like Arion approached. And it wasn't. I mean, it almost seemed. I mean, I didn't pick up the vibe so much that it was that. I mean, it was. And now, I mean, it may just be being naive and not picking it up, but yeah, it was solely for the purpose of. I mean, all the other people that Dunk had were less malleable as far as bribing, as what Arion had to offer.
Yeah, people like guys like Robin Risling, super kind of like dedicated warrior types, honorable types.
Yeah. Humphrey, like the Humphrey with the broken leg, he wants revenge, and Beesbury, Yeah, Harding
Harding.
got the broken leg, so he wants revenge. Beesbury's Harding's brother-in-law, so he's going to stand beside him. You're not going to bribe Lionel Baratheon with anything.
No, you ain't
like
gonna
you
bribe
said,
Lionel with shit. Lionel's joining this for the pure spectacle of it. That's it. He just wants to have some fun.
And as you said, Riesling, he ain't buying that shit. I mean, he's guided by the the warriors. So
exactly.
He actually does. And they touch on that as Dunk is reminiscing about Sir Arlen. That again, when they're explaining how the Hedge Knight is the truest form of knighthood, because you go to what you go and serve whoever it is cause that you feel is the most just. So and you'll find that people have served on both sides of the Blackfire rebellion people. At one point or another you may have served people who fought on opposite sides, but and sometimes you just have to let the bygones be gone, or let the past be the past, and deal with what's in front of you, whatever cause that is. So that it was pretty. I mean, I like it because it doesn't feel contrived. Of course, it's driving towards a conclusion, like any story should, but it doesn't feel like things. I mean, I don't feel like things are just like there's the Deus Ex Machina putting things in place necessarily. Mm-hmm. This was beautiful. I loved Baelor coming in, but it wasn't out of character for him. It wasn't a complete reversal of his nature and character. So I was like, yes, it fit like a glove. It fit perfectly. So very satisfying.
It was very fitting. I mean, very early on, like we get a really good measure of the kind of person that Baelor is when he is remembering Sir Arlen of Pennytree, the only one that remembers Sir Arlen of Pennytree and remembers every little detail of him. That kind of showed you right away like what kind of person Baelor was. He was a true knight of honor, and he remembered fellow knights. So yeah, it was very much in character for him to kind of join Dunk in the last minute like that, for sure, without a doubt. But yeah, who the fuck is Sir Stevron? Who the fuck is Sir Stevron? But yeah, the Fossaway thing was a nice, interesting tidbit. Again, it just based on the novella. I always assumed that it was Aerion that approached Sir Stefan and kind of bribed him with a lordship and said, "Hey, you turn on Dunk and I'll give you a lordship," type thing. So it's interesting to hear that the actor was kind of thinking the opposite, at least in his mind, in his backstory, that he was playing it as though he went to Aerion himself. It was his idea to go to Aerion, which is interesting because, it's like, it's not like Sir Stefan is asked or anything to stand with Dunk. He literally goes out of his way to join Dunk's side, only to betray it. So it's a little bit weird. The fact that he goes so far out of his way and makes it seem like he does have this honor. I saw what Aerion did to that puppeteer. I'm with you, Sir Duncan. It's like, okay, this, the first time I read the novel, I'm like, okay, because the first instance we get of Stefan Fossaway, you kind of think he's a bit of a douche, when he's training with Raymond. That's the first meeting we get of him, the first time we see him. So then when you get to that scene, you see that and it's like, okay, maybe he is honorable. Maybe he actually is gonna, maybe there is like an interesting character there. So it's very kind of weird for him to kind of just go way out of his way to volunteer for Dunk, only to betray him, and not betray him because he got a better offer, betray him because it was his idea to betray him. It's just super weird.
Right. That might have been. The more you talk about it, I'm thinking it might have just been headcanon for the actor.
For the actor, yeah.
Because they showed him being kind of a douche. Then Raymond mentions that he kind of either injures people or watches out for people that are injured, so he can leverage his own chances.
They let you know he's
pick them. So, but we weren't entirely sure. Was he villainous or was he just opportunistic like that?
Exactly.
But then Stefan or Raymond challenges him. He's like, you gave your So I think maybe,
Gave your word, yeah.
you gave your word. You said you'd help, and
You
he,
traded
I
your
think he
honor.
said I think he said I meant it at the time, or something along those lines.
I think he does in the book.
Yeah.
I think he does. Wait, you might be right. That sounds familiar. That he says I
Yeah.
meant it at the time. For some reason, that sounds familiar.
But I like the sound of Lord Fossaway better than
Even better. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it. That was the line in the book. Yeah. So yeah, in the book, it's very much kind of implied that he's approached, that he is approached by Arion. So yeah, for him to play it this way on the show is interesting. Even if it's just his headcanon, maybe it's just the backstory he's coming up with. Actors do that all the time, where they give their characters backstories that aren't in the script, just to kind of help them a little bit more to form characters' motivations and stuff like that. But usually those kind of things are run by the director, so it falls within, so whatever the actor is thinking up falls within continuity. But maybe this is just something he kind of just thought up to get him into the role. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, and here it is in the book. Is you told him to rely on you. Raymond had gone pale. Did I? No doubt I was sincere at the time. Bring me my horse.
Yeah. No doubt I was sincere at the time. Yeah, and again, I think the way they played it on the show was interesting. Again, if I didn't see that little snippet of that behind the scene, that inside the episode thing, I imagine, we probably would have assumed the same thing, that Arion just approached Sir Stefan. And canon-wise, I that's kind of how I always pictured it. But
and it doesn't really hurt anything. I mean,
no, it's
same
outcome. Same outcome. Yeah, for sure. It does make it a little bit weird, if anything, just that Sir Stefan just went way out of his way to join them, only to betray him. So it's a little interesting there, but same result at the end of the day. You're right. But yeah, good scene. And again, I can't stress enough how good the armor looks on A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Stefan Fossaway, his armor is fucking badass. This is some badass fucking armor right here. And all of the armor on the show has been, in my opinion, this has been the best armor of all of the Game of Thrones shows, whether it's the original Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. Knight of the Seven Kingdoms has had the best armor out of all of the Throne shows, and so far, I believe. It's just the extra attention to detail. They're going the extra mile to really depict this armor, very similar to even how it's drawn in the graphic novel. Super impressed with the armor designs. In particular, this one. This might be my favorite. The fucking apples.
Yeah, and the embossing like that is so. Yeah, that is. And the level of technical skill. I mean, that is you can tell that is not cheap. It's not cheap stuff.
No, that's fucking bad.
Probably better than most of the Valyrian stuff, or the Targaryen armor.
Stuff. Yeah. Fucking good. Fucking really good. But he's an asshole though. Unfortunately, it's armor wasted on an asshole. Maekar has some pretty sick armor. I mean, in at least in the graphic novel, these spikes are like super fucking exaggerated. So I like how they kind of shortened them a little bit here on the show, make it a little bit more practical. But Maekar is pretty similar. He's got his trusty patented mace that he always fights with. And he looks good. Again, all of the armor just looks really freaking good on the show. I'm super, super impressed with all of it. Baelor and Vallars.
I am a fan. I'm a fan of maces and warhammers in situations where people are wearing armor like this, because that's the only thing that's going to be effective. I mean, we're brought up on sword fights. Everybody loves sword fights, and everybody loves all of it. But when people are in head to toe plate, especially jousting, which is supposed to be a little more, it's even heavier and more impervious, just because of all the flying lance shards and stuff. But we've learned from Bobby Baratheon that you can hit somebody in the chest with your warhammer and
cave their chest plate in.
Yeah, shoot the rubies all over the place.
The Ruby Ford. Yeah.
And that was another thing that they talk about. And normally I hate when people have like giant sledgehammers, because if people don't know,
super impractical.
Yeah, but Baratheon was supposed to be of, you know, is of big size and big strength, where Ned couldn't even lift, right? He couldn't even barely lift the Warhammer.
Yeah, he could barely lift Robert's hammer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that make, you know, in a fantasy story, I'll grant, like, some people having, you know, almost superhuman strength, but still within the realm of humanity, kind of, like 1%. You know, 1 percentile human strength. You know, somebody's got to be that guy. And we're talking earlier in the chat, like the mountain was close to 8 feet tall. I mean, you know, Dunk is 6'11". You know, when the Maesters measured him at Old Town, he was one inch shy of 7 feet. But the mountain is 800 and close to 400, or 8 feet tall and close to 400 pounds.
Massive beast.
Yeah, and that is, I mean, that's going to be your 1%. Almost like how the guy who played the mountain is in the 1 percentile of humanity. You know, when you're looking at sheer mass, how much you do to, you know, how much food you need to shovel into somebody's mouth to make them, but that size, plus all the genetics involved.
Yeah. And that was, and, you know, the thing about the mountain was always interesting too, because it was always kind of described that you know, he was, you know, freakishly big, but also freakishly quick for his size as well. But yeah,
breastplate stretcher.
God, I was strong then. Go fetch the breastplate stretcher.
That is so funny. Absolutely.
Thing's too fat for his armor. Oh, shit. Go ahead. Bow before your king. Bow your shit. Inspiring sight for the people, huh? Go on. Bow before your king. Bow your shits. Fucking Bobby B was that dude, man. Bobby B was that fucking dude.
But at the time though, he did. I mean, he blasted Rhaegar's chest with the, and that's pretty much how the only way you're going to be able to do it. Right.
He wasn't a slouch. He wasn't Arthur Dayne or anything like that, but Rhaegar was a competent fighter himself. He had won plenty of tourneys. He had unseated Sir Barristan Selmy before, which is not easy to do. So he could fight a little bit. But I just wanted to point out, I fucking love this. I love that Riesling has a fucking armor draped over his missing eye. I fucking love that. He literally went out there and specifically had his chainmail fitted to have it drape over his missing fucking eye. This dude is a legend.
Yeah, and and the thing is, almost like like Baratheon said early on, it makes it like when Dunk said he was there for dinner. It's like, it makes sense. You already got a missing eye hole. You don't want, you know, there's a limit to how much more it can be messed up, but you don't want to see. You don't want to test that. So yeah.
Yeah, I know. Fucking great. Yeah, I know. It's so fucking good. It's so fitting too of his character. I feel like what we thought of this was fucking gold.
Yeah, because somebody did have to think of that. So that was A+ for that guy. Give that guy the fart guy's job.
For real, get the fart guy out of here and promote fucking this guy. For real, this was great. It just perfectly fitting for his character. Perfect. You know, because when we first see him, he's got a wicked badass fucking eye patch. He's got a metal eye patch when we first see him, even when he's just dressed in like regular clothes. And so you can just tell, like, this is really fucking, it's a mad fucking lad right here. It's a mad lad. But yeah. Love,
and it's all male though, and even his horse has the cloth, where everybody else is, you know, the richer ones. So the social strata and the equipment,
the class system is very much at play there, even regarding the armor on horses. You're 100% right.
And so it's good for us, you know, to as a visual reference. But you know, in world they'd be using that visual reference too. They'd see Robin Riesling and say, okay. Just by the way he looks, we know exactly what this guy is all about. You know, he is a hedge knight. He is not a landed knight or a great lord or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you get that one line from Riesling right when we first see him, you know, about madness, and right away it's like, okay, you know what this fucking guy's about. You know exactly what this fucking guy's about. But yeah, Nico brings up a good point. Fart guy and male patch guy might be the same person. They can't be. They can't. There's no possible way one person can come up with that amount of creativity in that. There's no possible way that's the same person. I refuse to believe so. I hope not. Please, I hope not. I fucking hope not. Shit.
And the smile too. I mean, that's indicative too. He's relishing the moment, just like
Lionel in the background.
Look at I didn't even notice Lionel when I mentioned that. Yeah, there he is, just grinning ear to ear.
I'm loving this shit. Loving
the laughing storm. You ain't fucking kidding.
Yeah. And it's so I really hope we get to see, what the Laughing Storm is so kind of famous for in terms of like chopping off sigils and shit, like off of people's helmets and shit.
Yeah, throwing it into the crowd. Yeah, like a damn like Hulk Hogan tearing his shirt off and throwing it in the crowd. Yeah.
Oh shit!
And people being all that's so funny too. Like people are so pissed because I mean they explain in the book that those crests are expensive and sometimes they're gilded or they're elaborate and they're costly to replace. And here's this guy knocking them off and throwing them into the crowd.
Like he takes pride in how many he can fucking knock off. I love that.
Yep. Medieval trolling.
The first troll ever in Westeros history. The first ever fucking troll. Shit. Yeah. That always fucking got me when I read that. Chopping off fucking sigils and shit. Chopping off. It reminded me of like someone going around chopping off fucking hood emblems on cars or something. Chopping them off. But yeah. The armor's great. The fucking armor, long story short, the fucking armor on A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is top fucking notch.
Yeah, especially on a lower budget, they're punching way above their weight. Yeah. Way above.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, overall, phenomenal episode from start to finish. I loved all of it. Again, that one fart scene was, I'll probably deduct a little bit of a point from that on my overall score totally. But overall, this was a really, really good episode. I feel like they added some really good, weight, some emotional resonance to some of these scenes that doesn't exactly exist in the book, at least not as well as it does on the show. So they're really adding some weight. They're adding some depth, adding some real character to some of these scenes, to Dunk himself. I feel like Dunk is way deeper and way more of a fleshed out character on the show than he was in the book. But at least so far as we are in the Hedge Knight Dunk, not like the Dunk that he goes on to become.
Right.
This far, just looking at the Hedge Knight, this Dunk is already way better developed. But yeah, I love this episode. I thought it was great. It was great from start to finish. Again, fart withstanding. But let us know what you guys think in the chat, and let me know as well. Ravener, what did you guys think on a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 being horrible and 10 being perfect? What score do you guys give episode 4 of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms?
Well, yeah, of course, on my rating of this episode, the fart is going to be the big one. That's gonna take a knock. And I also the other one that didn't ring true was Raymond Fossway laughing or like cracking up when Egg was telling this story about having his stones threatened. That didn't ring true. They missed a few opportunities, but they hit on a lot more opportunities. As far as adaptation and telling a good story. So I think I'm gonna bring it probably to. I'll give it still a good solid 8, which is with an 8. I would rewatch it and I would recommend it to anybody without hesitation. A lot of the quibbles would be, personal to myself, where I couldn't go any lower than that. But yeah, I'll go a good solid 8 on this one. And again, the enthusiasm for the next episode, it's gonna now I'm gonna have that sort of Damocles over my head where I'm watching the last 2 episodes knowing that that's the end of it, that the clock is ticking on our time. But
I know, man.
I'm brimming with enthusiasm for episode 5. So yeah, I'm super satisfied and would recommend it to people that haven't watched Game of Thrones, or people that that people have that have. Very true to the story. Very faithful adaptation. Like I said, a couple stumbles, but so many other instances that were spot on, or where they made changes and they were the correct changes, in my estimation. So yeah, I'm very happy with an 8. Yeah.
I'm super satisfied with the show until this point. The adaptation has been phenomenal. They're really staying true. Like when Ira Parker said at the beginning of the season, before the season started, that he made this for George. You can totally understand what he meant. Like he's being very true to who these characters are, to what this story is. If anything, he's adding to it at certain points, where he's giving some of these scenes some really deep emotional resonance that didn't exist in the book. But one thing for this episode in particular, I definitely have to deduct a point for the fart. I feel like the fart just completely took away from the gravity and the moment of that scene. Again, I get that this show is supposed to have a good deal of comedy, but every once in a while, you need to let your show be serious when it calls for it. When the narrative calls for a serious scene, let the scene be serious. Not everything needs to be reduced to a fart joke. So definitely reducing a point for the fart. I feel like that scene was perfect up until that point. And of course, I think I'd have to probably deduct like a half a point at least for them not throwing this scene in the episode. I feel like this is a very vital scene for Dunk's character development and for Dunk's confidence going into this fight. Dunk is very young. Like he's like 16 years old during the events of the Hedge Knight. He's a teenager at this point. He's never been on his own before. And now he's faced with not just entering a tournament, but fighting a 7-on-7 deadly match for his life, for his actual life. Right. He's super nervous. You could understand why.
Against Princes of the Realm and the Kingsguard, people that he's essentially idolized.
Exactly. Against Kingsguard and shit. Like he's shitting bricks. So a scene like this would have gone a really long way to give Dunk some of that confidence that he needs to know, okay, I might be, the House Targaryen might be against me. The High Lords might be against me. But the small folk have my back. They're on my side. They see that I'm holding up my knight's vows.
And that might have really touching. And it might have really explained how he found his voice when he was addressing the gallery.
Exactly. This could have given him the courage to deliver that speech in the first place. Absolutely. 100%. I just feel like this was a really important scene that needed to be in the story, and it's unfortunate that wasn't. I imagine the only reason it isn't was due to time constraints. That's really the only reason I could think of them not adapting the scene. I wouldn't be surprised if they even filmed this scene and maybe it just didn't make the episode, because this is just like it's such a vital part for Dunk's character arc to have this moment, to know that there are people that believe in him. He's never had that feeling before. So I feel like, they really missed the mark not having this scene in the episode right before the trial. But again, maybe it'll happen in episode 5. Maybe there's a possibility where Dunk will be, walking close to the stand, and we'll get something similar to this. So I guess I don't want to judge it too harsh too soon. Maybe we'll see this in episode 5, but it should have been in this episode.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just because we haven't seen it yet, because we know they've got to put a lot of other stuff in there, including the flashbacks. So we are going to see some stuff. Yeah, that's a good point. That the opportunity was gone from this episode, but not from all episodes. That's a very good point. Yeah. And he's not like he couldn't use a little more confidence going into this. Right.
He could have used it. Could have used a little more confidence. And nothing wrong with a little more confidence when your life is on the line, when you're facing this archaic form of trial by combat. Yeah, a little confidence would have helped, I think.
So what's your verdict?
For me, I got to take that 1 point and that half a point away. So for me, I will give this one an 8.5. 8.5 out of 10, because the rest of it was just beautifully done from start to finish. Even the Daron scene, like the Daron scene was adapted incredibly well. And Daron finally explains his dream to Dunk and what he saw and why he was so afraid of Dunk when he first saw him in that inn. Very well done, incredibly well done. But
we both hate drunk characters, but neither of us complained about Daron in this show.
No, not at all. Not at
Yeah.
all. Not at all. He was great. He was really good. They had he had some really good scenes in this episode. Him sneaking in the tent and all of that. Very faithful to the story. But yeah, from the far and them not having this scene in there, I got to take 1.5 points away. So 8.5 out of 10 for me. And this was my favorite episode of the season, though. Even with, notwithstanding, this was still my favorite episode of the season so far. Just because that Baylor moment, Dunk delivering that speech, there were some really, really good moments in this episode. So yeah, good stuff. We are ready for the trial of 7 now. We are ready. But let's see what you guys were saying. Let us know what your score was. What did you think of episode 4 on a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 being horrible and 10 being perfect? What did you guys think? 10 farts from Haymaker. 10 farts from Haymaker. Okay. Awesome. I'm sticking with my 8.8, says Doc Hayes. Awesome. That's a solid score as well. Definitely a solid score. We got a 7.5 from West of Westeros. Also another solid score. Love it. I didn't watch it yet. I got the timing wrong. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that, Star. I think you're going to love it, though. I think you're going to love it. This was a really, really fun episode. Again, if you heard us discussing the whole fart thing, that's, one little drawback on the episode, but the majority of episode 4 is really, really, really good. Really well done. Good writing, good acting, good performances all around. The armor looks great. It's very aesthetically pleasing, this show as a whole. Yeah. And it's so consumable. Like, this show is it's just so easy to watch.
Yeah, I get, if I had one good thing to say, is like the fart scene is about as weighty as the shit scene or the giant dick scene. Once it's gone, once it's off the screen, it almost doesn't register anymore. It's almost like they move along, and even the show almost they almost ignore it. I mean, they don't reference it again. They don't. It's like it's almost like it's out of place. Yeah.
That's, I mean, if they would have stayed and like lingered on it for a long time, it could have really, really brought that scene down and really kind of just completely taken all of the air out of that scene. The way that it was, it takes you out of the scene for a minute, cheapens the moment a little bit, but then you get right back to the rest of Dunk's speech, and he recovers. There's a good recovery, at least.
And my God, did they stick the landing? That's the thing. When I started hearing those cellos, like, when
you finally get the Game of Thrones theme start to play, and fucking Baylor comes out in Valar's armor, and he's like, "I will stand with Sir Duncan." Fuck yes, that is what I'm looking for. That is what I'm fucking looking for. Just incredibly well done. Again, even you don't have this kind of emotional weight, this emotional resonance when you're reading these scenes in the book. They don't play like that. They don't have really that deep emotional tone to them. And again, maybe that's just the difference between live action storytelling, where we're watching actual real humans, versus just reading something on a page and picturing it in our mind. Stuff like this is always going to feel a little bit better. But even the way it's described in the book, it doesn't have that emotional resonance to it when Baylor makes this triumphant kind of entrance the way he did in this episode. Just, again, music can really enhance a scene, which is something a book can't really do. So it was just phenomenal. They earned the right to use the Game of Thrones theme song in this episode. And now you kind of start to see why they did that at the beginning of the season. At least the choice at the beginning of the season makes a little bit more sense now. Where the Game of Thrones theme starts in episode 1 and then cuts off right to Dunk going to the bathroom, almost like they hadn't earned the right to use that theme song yet, but now they have. So looking back, it doesn't excuse the poop scene, but it explains it a little better, if nothing else.
And George has got to be pleased as punch with how this is being.
He seems super fucking happy with this show. Yeah. He's super fucking happy with this show. He was raving about it right when it was about to start. It's funny, right before Night of the Seven Kingdoms started, George is raving about Ira Parker and Dexter and Peter and everyone involved in Night of the Seven Kingdoms. The same day, he's just absolutely shitting on Ryan Condal and just airing out all of the fucking dirty laundry for everyone to fucking see. So that was a very interesting turn of events. It's like, I'll completely shit on Ryan Condal in one swoop and completely, rise up Ira Parker on the other. And I mean, yeah, I imagine George is happy with this adaptation.
Yeah. And I mean, there's no truer sentiment than, it's not my story anymore, talking about House of the Dragon. Yeah. And, they're going to have, I mean, they didn't do a good job when they had the book to reference.
Let alone afterwards.
Yeah. So it's going to be a season 8 Game of Thrones shit show kind of situation. I think. Yeah.
I don't know. We shall see. We shall see what happens when they get past season 3. I know George says he's got all these other Dunk and Egg novellas that he's planning on writing. He's already got outlines and fleshed out stories for them, which he has shared with Ira Parker. So Ira's got a little bit of a blueprint to go on after they exhaust the source material. But at the end of the day, once the 3 books are done, the 3 books are done. They are going to have to go off just George's minimal outlines, and they're going to have to fill in the rest on their own. So it will be interesting to see how the tone of the show, or if the tone of the show changes from the first 3 seasons to season 4 and beyond. But overall, they're killing it. I mean, again, you can always nitpick a few small little things. There's always a few little areas that, can always be improved. But overall, as a whole, this has been a great show so far. It's definitely the best show that's on right now. And it's just refreshing. It's a very refreshing, easy kind of piece of media to consume. It's one of those shows where it's just so easy to watch and fun to watch. It gives you that heartwarming feel. But yeah, here we go, folks. Looking ahead to episode 5 now. Looking ahead to episode 5. Yeah. But that is going to do it for us tonight. Ravener, last words. What did you think?
Yeah, man. So, this whole series has been an absolute pleasure. And I mean, I'd been out of the streaming game for almost a year, to be honest. And this one kind of dragged me out of it, having read the book. And I said, oh, there's something to this. And at first, the first few episodes was curiosity. You're curious to see how what you've read translates onto the screen. How are these people interpreting it? And this very easily could have been one that was great, or at least interesting for a couple episodes, and then they drop the ball or whatever. But man, they've done so good, so long, so consistently. And I, even a skeptic, or even that devil on my shoulder telling me, oh, you're going to get rug pulled, you're going to get effed over. I don't think so, man. I have this eternal optimism that they're going to carry it right on through to the end. I mean, we know what is coming, so there's going to be some action. There's going to be something awesome in these next couple episodes. So yeah, man, I'm here for it, loving it, so glad. And it almost it was I think I said this on episode 1, is like it almost like restores your faith that they actually can make things
they can make some good stuff. It does. So, it does a bit.
So yeah, that'll be my final word. Yeah, I'm happy, I'm satisfied, so relieved that we're getting something good, worthy of our time, because that I'm so stingy with my time. It's like you don't get that much in your life, and you can't piss it away on something that's terrible. So it's very easy for me to cut bait when something isn't scratching the itch, and this one is definitely doing it, man.
It is. You have nothing but a satisfying feeling when watching the show, and then when an episode ends. If anything, you just want more of it because it's so good. But yeah, off to a phenomenal start. Well, I mean, not really off to a start. We're already more than halfway done at this point. But it's been going incredibly well so far. Really good adaptation, very faithful to the source material. The performances have been great from all the actors. The casting's phenomenal. The writing's great. Everything is firing on all cylinders for this show. So yeah, there it goes, folks. Episode 4 is in the books. I will have my episode 5 trailer breakdown up on the channel probably tomorrow. At some point, so be on the lookout for that. I'll be breaking down the episode 5 trailer and seeing where we're going to go and what we can expect to see in episode 5, and where they'll potentially cut it off, and what they'll say for episode 6, yada yada. So be on the lookout for that. And as always, stay safe out there, folks. Keep those tinfoil hats on. And as always, I will see you all on the next one. Cheers, folks.
I will hurt you for this.
I am the sword in the darkness.
Lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of the sheep.
Let me give you some advice, bastard.
Chaos isn't a pit. Chaos is a ladder.
You wish to enter the tourney?
I don't have much, just sword and shield. I mean to serve the realm with all my might.
What should I do?
I don't know. I'm really quite drunk.